Hi there. So glad you're here. Whether you're in your 60s, 70, or even beyond, let me ask you something simple. How do your joints feel today? A little stiff in the morning, hips sore after sitting too long. Maybe your knees don't quite have the strength they used to. Most people assume this is just normal aging. But what if I told you that what you're putting on your plate might be quietly speeding up that joint damage? Yes, the foods you eat every day may be destroying your joints faster than time itself, but don't worry, because today, I'm going to walk you through 5 everyday foods that are silently sabotaging your joint health and what you should be eating instead to feel stronger, looser, and more energetic. This isn't just about pain relief. It's about freedom. The freedom to walk with ease, to play with your grandkids, to bend, stretch, garden, and dance without fear. And it's possible once you understand how food and inflammation are connected. A growing body of research is showing us that chronic inflammation is at the root of joint degeneration. And here's the twist: inflammation isn't just caused by injuries or disease. It's caused by food. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that highly processed foods increase C-reactive protein carp, a key marker of inflammation, especially in adults over 60. When inflammation levels rise, the protective cartilage in your joint starts to break down. That leads to stiffness, swelling, and eventually, more pain. So the very first question I want you to think about is, what did you eat today? And did it help your body or hurt it? Now don't worry, I'm not here to scare you or take away everything you enjoy. My goal is to empower you, because for every food we'll talk about that harms your joints, I'll also give you an easy, delicious replacement that supports them. So stay with me through to the end, because this information could be what finally helps you say goodbye to that aching feeling that's been slowing you down for years. Ready to find out what food is first on the list? Let's get into it. Let's start with the first big culprit. And you might be surprised, it's something found in almost every household, something that seems innocent, maybe even comforting: refined white bread and baked goods. That's right, your morning toast, that soft dinner roll, or the biscuit with your tea may actually be fueling inflammation from the inside out. Why? It all comes down to refined carbohydrates. When you eat white bread, pastries, or foods made with white flour, your body breaks them down quickly into sugar. This causes a spike in blood glucose, which then triggers an inflammatory response, especially in your joints. Now here's where it gets serious. According to a study published in the journal Arthritis and Rheumatology, higher blood sugar levels are linked with increased cartilage loss in older adults, particularly in the knees. That's right. The more your blood sugar spikes from refined carbs, the more likely you are to experience joint breakdown over time. And if you're already dealing with arthritis or any type of joint pain, this can make the symptoms even worse. But here's the good news: you don't have to give up bread completely. The key is swapping refined carbs for whole grains that don't spike your blood sugar the same way. So instead of white bread or sugary muffins, try whole grain bread, oats, quinoa, or buckwheat. These have more fiber, digest slower, and help keep inflammation in check. Whole grains have also been shown to reduce carp, that's the same inflammatory marker we talked about earlier. In fact, a 2018 study in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who ate more whole grains had lower inflammation and better mobility over time. Think about that for a second. A simple change like switching your breakfast bread can actually help protect your knees, hips, and back for years to come. And here's a quick tip: if the first ingredient on the label says enriched wheat flour, skip it. That means it's been stripped of its nutrients and will behave like sugar in your body. Look for 100 whole grain or sprouted grain instead. So let me ask you, what kind of bread or baked goods do you usually keep at home? Take a moment and check your pantry or fridge after this video. You might be shocked how much of your food falls into this category. And remember, small shifts can make a big difference. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a sweet favorite that almost everyone over 60 should be cutting back on, especially if your joints ache more after dessert. Now, let's move to the next joint wrecker, one that almost every one of us has in our kitchen, and maybe even in our coffee right now. Sugar. Yes, sugar is delicious. It's comforting. It's everywhere. And if you've got a sweet tooth, you're not alone, especially if you've grown up believing dessert is a reward. But here's what most people don't know: sugar isn't just a threat to your waistline or blood sugar levels. It's actually one of the biggest accelerators of joint inflammation, especially after age 60. You see, when your body breaks down sugar, it forms advanced glycation end products, or AGEs for short. That's not just a coincidence in naming. These compounds directly contribute to oxidative stress and inflammation in the joints. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that people with diets high in added sugars had significantly higher levels of inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein carp, a known risk factor for arthritis and joint pain. And here's the kicker: the inflammation from sugar doesn't always happen right away. It can build up slowly over weeks, months, even years, quietly damaging cartilage and connective tissue until you start to feel that familiar stiffness in the morning or soreness after a short walk. So where's sugar hiding? Sure, we expect it in candy and desserts, but it's also lurking in healthy foods like flavored yogurts, granola bars, fruit juices, ketchup, and even some breads and soups. In fact, many of these foods contain 10, 20, even 30 grams of sugar per serving, and we often don't even notice. Now, let's be honest, life is too short to never enjoy something sweet, but the secret is in switching to joint-friendly alternatives that don't spike inflammation. Instead of soda, try infused water with berries and mint. Instead of sugary cereal, try steel-cut oats topped with cinnamon and fresh fruit. Instead of processed desserts, dark chocolate above 70 in moderation can satisfy a craving without the sugar bomb. Even natural sweeteners like monk fruit, stevia, or a small amount of raw honey can be used in place of white sugar, without the same inflammatory load. Here's a helpful question to ask yourself next time you shop: would I still eat this if I knew it was aging my joints? That single pause, that one mindful moment, could save you from years of discomfort and stiffness. So tell me in the comments, what sugary food or drink is the hardest for you to give up? And have you noticed your joints feeling worse after indulging? You're not alone, but remember, knowledge is power, and you're already making smarter choices just by being here. Coming up next, this one might sting a little, because it's a comfort food classic. But don't worry, I'll also show you the healthy swap that's just as satisfying and way more joint-friendly. Now, let's talk about something that might be sitting in your fridge right now, and I know this one might be a little personal. Red meat and processed meats. We're talking about sausages, bacon, deli meats, hot dogs, and yes, even those juicy steaks. I get it, they're comforting, delicious, and for many of us, they've been a part of family meals and Sunday dinners for decades. But here's what we often don't realize: after 60, our body processes these foods very differently than it did in our 30s and 40s. You see, red and processed meats contain high levels of saturated fats and purines, which contribute to increased levels of uric acid in the body. And high uric acid is a major trigger for gout, a painful form of arthritis that often starts in the feet and toes but can quickly spread to knees, wrists, and elbows. And it's not just gout. A large-scale study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that diets high in red and processed meats were linked to greater joint inflammation and cartilage degradation, especially in people over the age of 60. Now let's pause for a moment here. Have you ever felt your knees or ankles ache more after a big meal heavy in meats and salty foods? That's not your imagination. That's your body sounding the alarm, and the sooner we listen, the better we can feel. Here's the good news: you don't have to give up all meat. What you do want to do is switch to leaner, joint-friendly protein sources that actually help reduce inflammation. For example, wild-caught salmon is packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which are proven to reduce joint stiffness and improve mobility. A study published in Rheumatology International found that older adults who consumed more fatty fish had better joint lubrication and lower carp levels. Other great alternatives: skinless chicken breast, lentils, chickpeas, tofu, eggs, and tempeh. They provide the protein your muscles and joints need without flooding your system with inflammatory compounds. If you still crave the taste of red meat, try limiting it to once a week, and make it a small portion. Grass-fed beef in moderation is better than heavily processed meats like salami or pepperoni. You can also marinate meats in anti-inflammatory herbs and spices like turmeric, garlic, and rosemary, which may help reduce some of the negative impact. Ask yourself, is this food helping me move better, or is it slowly locking up my joints? It's a powerful shift when we stop eating just for taste and start eating for mobility. Let me ask you this: if you could replace your morning pain and stiffness with energy and ease, would it be worth skipping bacon a few days a week? If your answer is yes, then you're already halfway there. Coming up next, we'll tackle a sneaky pantry staple that most people think is healthy, but could be silently making your joints swell and ache every single day. Alright, let's talk about a pantry favorite that hides behind a healthy label but could be doing serious damage to your joints: vegetable oils. Now I know, this might come as a surprise. For years, many of us were told that cooking with vegetable oil was a healthier choice than butter or lard. And sure, it sounds better: corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, right? But here's what most people don't realize: many of these oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6s aren't bad on their own, the problem lies in the imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 in our diets. Our bodies need a balance between the two to regulate inflammation. But today, the average person consumes 15 to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3, according to research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. And what happens when that balance is off? Chronic inflammation, the root of joint pain, stiffness, and conditions like arthritis. If your joints feel swollen or stiff after meals cooked in vegetable oils, your body could be reacting to that omega-6 overload. Now, let me ask you, do you know what kind of oil is sitting in your kitchen right now? Take a look. Is it corn, soybean, or canola? If so, it might be time for a change. Here's what you want instead: switch to extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even coconut oil in moderation. These oils are rich in monounsaturated fats and antioxidants that help reduce joint inflammation. A study in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry showed that extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal, which acts similarly to ibuprofen in reducing joint inflammation without the side effects of over-the-counter meds. Another study, published in Arthritis Research and Therapy, found that older adults who consumed more olive oil had less joint cartilage breakdown and greater joint comfort over time. And olive oil isn't just for cooking. You can drizzle it on salads, veggies, or even into soups for a rich, anti-inflammatory boost. Here's another tip: avoid anything labeled partially hydrogenated. That means it contains trans fats, which are outright joint wreckers. Even small amounts of trans fat can increase systemic inflammation, according to a major review in the New England Journal of Medicine. So next time you're shopping, read those labels. Your joints are counting on you. You might be thinking, I've used vegetable oil my whole life. Is it really that bad? Remember, your body after 60 is different. The margin for error is smaller. And every choice, even something as small as your cooking oil, can either move you closer to comfort or deeper into pain. So swap out the old oil and try just 1 week with anti-inflammatory alternatives. Notice how you feel, because when it comes to joint health, the smallest adjustments often create the biggest breakthroughs. Alright, we've made it to the final food on our list, and this one is a sneaky villain that many seniors consume daily without even realizing how much harm it's doing to their joints. I'm talking about processed meats. Now, I know a cold-cut turkey sandwich or a few slices of sausage might seem harmless, especially if it's part of a light lunch or dinner. But hear me out. Processed meats like ham, bacon, sausage, deli turkey, hot dogs, and even beef jerky are preserved with chemical additives like nitrates and nitrites. These compounds, once inside the body, can trigger something called nitrosative stress, a process that promotes inflammation and cartilage degradation, according to a study published in Frontiers in Nutrition. People who regularly consumed processed meats had significantly higher markers of inflammation, such as C-reactive protein carp, compared to those who didn't. That inflammation is directly linked to increased joint pain and stiffness, especially in the knees and hips, the joints we rely on most as we age. Plus, these meats are usually loaded with sodium, which causes your body to retain water and puts more pressure on your joints. Imagine your joints are like sponges when they're overloaded with sodium and fluid. They stiffen, lose flexibility, and begin to ache. And here's the real kicker: processed meats often come alongside refined bread, cheese, and sauces, creating a triple hit of inflammation-promoting ingredients in a single meal. But the good news is this: you don't have to give up meat. You just have to upgrade your choices. Instead of processed meats, reach for lean cuts of grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, or wild-caught salmon. These provide high-quality protein which helps repair joint tissue without the harmful preservatives and excess sodium. In fact, fatty fish like salmon and sardines are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are shown to reduce joint inflammation and slow cartilage breakdown. A recent study published in the Journal of Rheumatology found that seniors who ate fatty fish at least twice a week had better joint flexibility and less morning stiffness than those who didn't. Now I want to ask you something important. How many of these foods have been part of your routine lately? Even if it's just 1 or 2, now's the perfect time to start making smarter swaps. Let's quickly recap the hidden culprits: refined sugars that trigger pain behind the scenes, white flour products that steal away your joint stability, excess dairy that might inflame instead of nourish, vegetable oils that quietly fuel the fire, and processed meats that damage from the inside out. But here's the beautiful truth: every meal gives you a fresh chance to support your joints instead of sabotaging them. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to go on a strict diet or eliminate everything you love. Just begin by crowding out the harmful foods with anti-inflammatory, joint-loving choices. Fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, whole grains, lean proteins, the basics, but consistently applied. Remember, aging isn't about decline. It's about adaptation. The body you have today is still capable of strength, comfort, and vitality. But it's up to you to give it the care it deserves. So here's my gentle challenge to you: pick just one food swap this week. Maybe replace your margarine with olive oil, or trade your white bread for sprouted grain toast, or say no to that sausage breakfast and yes to scrambled eggs with spinach. Small choices, repeated over time, lead to lifelong change. Before you go, if you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you can like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next health tip designed just for you. And tell me in the comments, which of these foods surprised you the most and what change will you make today? I read every comment and I'd love to cheer you on. Until next time, take care of your joints and they'll take care of you.